Now, I had done this review on the SR11, and I got some replies from Mr. Walker, and after talking to him some more, a couple of things he had mentioned to me that I thought I should correct, and then kind of give a new opinion on combative edge products. And the main thing he says is that I don't know him, and that's true. I don't know him, guys. I've never met him. Just vaguely talking through email and his comments on my video. If you go watch that SR11 video, you can see his comments. And the same thing though is he doesn't know me. You see, because the thing is, for me, YouTube, like TV, it's all about, it's like advertising, and it's like capitalistic, it's just like America, just how can we sell you stuff all the time? It's just marketing, and it's always fake. And YouTube, what I like about it is that it's free, you have freedom of speech, and you can find much more information that's more true and unchanged, unfiltered, uncensored, and that's kind of what's nice about YouTube. But the problem is a lot of businesses, using YouTube in that capitalistic way, trying to market it, and they're not even interested in the YouTube community or contributing to the knife community. So, for example, if you go to Mr. Walker's website, his YouTube channel, and he doesn't have favorites. He doesn't have like uploads on how to educate people about different types of blades and steels. He doesn't really. It's just his products. Quick little 15-second things about his products. He told me I should research more about him, so I did, and that's what I found. And so the thing is, he told me this, that I got my information incorrect. So I read some article review on him, and I guess that article was incorrect too, because they had said that he had been doing Philippine martial arts for 4 years, and that's what influenced him to learn knife fighting and to ultimately go this route. He said he's been doing martial arts his whole life. Okay, this is his full-time job. Okay, well, so, but here's the catch. You see, there are people like Strider, Bob Lum, who passed away, Hinder, and Mr. Reeves, who this is their full-time job, designing knives. This is what they do. Bob Lum, he did it for 31 years. Rick Hinder, since the 80s, and he has experience as a first responder, EMTs, firefighter, some kind of dive unit thing too. Mr. Reeves, this knife came off of his 21 years or 20 years plus of using the Sebenza. You know what I mean? And he grew up in what I think was like somewhere in Africa or something like that, South Africa or something like that. And Strider, Strider's history is like if you Wikipedia, if you Google Strider knives, it's like after their first project as a company was to supply the Naval Special Warfare Groups, with GB or BG models. And here's interesting on SMF, it actually stands for, what happened is they have Strider knives makes several models specifically for the U.S. military in the global war on terror, and each has its own national stock number. And the Strider SMF, which is officially a knife folding special mission, so that's what the special mission folder, and that's what the SMF stands for. But you get what I'm saying? You have a lot of experience going into these things. So now I had commented some of the flaws of the SR11. And one of the biggest flaws was that the lock bar, if you can hear it, what? Hear that? Because it's a flimsy little thing. I don't really care to say it anymore. It's flimsy, okay? If a lock bar can move and squeeze with my finger pressure, it's gonna wear unevenly. It's just kind of like, that needs to be fixed. And so I said to him that, you could fix that easy, if you watch that video, by just doing it Bob Terzula. He made it to where that blade thing held the bar from going down in. And Hinder did that stabilizer disc. Well, it's not very visible, but not on Strider, And so, I told him that's something he should fix. And he said, he thinks it's fine. Okay. So then, my thing is then like, and then he had said that the blade profile, I told him that, I was like saying that the tanto kind of removes the point of a tanto by being so thin. He says it's better for penetration. And this is what, this is my thing though now. Okay, so Spyderco is known for taking input of people and even improving them, remodifying them. But the thing is, if you look at all these tantos, a spear tanto by Hinder, okay, so he wants to stab things really good, so it makes it into a spear tanto. You look at this Strider tanto, look at all these tips. The Bob Lum tanto, the Chris Reeve Umnamzan tanto. Finally you have the Salas. Can you see this? The thinnest tip of all of these is the Salus. So here's my thing though. So okay, see, to me, you know, when you look at these knives by these knife makers, Mr. Reeves, Bob Lum, these are big time people, Strider, Hinder. I mean, these guys have years and decades of experience. They're making legitimately for serious, for military, for emergency people. I mean, and you look at these blade shapes, they're just not, I mean, it's just, that's what a tanto is supposed to be, you know? I mean, they're not playing around. You know, they know what a tanto is supposed to be because they're knife makers. They know how to make a knife. They know to shoulder the screws. They know, you know, what you're supposed to do. So to me then, for him to say that this penetrates better, did I try penetrating with it? You know, did I try any tests? I don't know. Has he seen some of my tests? Because see, he comments on the video, but he's not even a subscriber of my channel. Doesn't keep up with what I post and you know, and know what I'm talking about. So so you know, let's just see. Like, so we got this little pair of pants right here, right? I mean, we're talking. Okay, so it penetrates, right? Okay, it's easy, right? Made a little hole. Okay, made a little hole too. I mean, what are your point? I mean, everyone keeps telling me this. Like, look, a tanto will stab just as good as anything else. You know, a tanto's purpose is to have that extra bulking tip, so that it can have some survival aspects and it have some durability for tactical use. So you know, I can say that Mr. Walker probably won't really like me after this video, if he even watches it, because I'm not going to actually list the Salus in the search. And you know, and I'm sorry, the SR11. I keep mixing that up. And then you know, but the thing is, you know, that's fine. You know, I wanted to I thought this one's pretty cool, you know, but you know, I don't have to sell it, you know, and I'm definitely not going to suggest the SR11 because, you know, yeah, you know, I don't have to make that money. It's just whatever. I don't want that money. You know, I don't want to risk telling someone, you know, it's like what Mr. Hinder says on his website that, you know, it's a knife that, you know, will go the distance, you know, it'll take you there, and you know, that's the same thing. I don't want to like lead anyone wrong, and if I, you know, so if someone says, you know, well, you know, are my comments, you know, are they logical? You know, I'm going off of, you know, these are 4 of some of the best knife making companies, some of the best knives available. You know, by some of the most seasoned people in the industry, along with my Terzula Strider collaboration. And, you know, yeah, I can see the fact in the blade shape, in the design, you know, and I can compare, and I can tell you that, you know, these combative edge, you know, this SR11, you know, is, you know, not so good. It's not so good. For the money, I would suggest get something else. And so, you know, I'm going to take them off, and, you know, like I said, you know, it's a shame, but, you know, we move forward, you know. Now, the main thing is, though, you know, in all fairness, a lot of these knives, like Mr. Reeves' Umnumzan, can be pushed down in, see? The Strider can't. The Strider is locked like a bank. As people always say. Hinder, now Hinder's production models are never as good as his original first, before the 3rd generation ones. Before the 3rd generation ones, they were more, I guess you would say, hands-on by Hinder himself, and they were really good. The production ones always have little goofy flaws. Like, for example, my 3, one had the thumb lug here kind of sharp. The other one, this one got stuck a lot. And then the other one was a generation earlier than generation 3, and that one's like perfect. So, but regardless, I mean, even this Hinder can be, you know, if you really push down, there we go, you know. But the thing is, at least it has that stabilizer bar. Of course, liner locks won't have that problem. But I've never had a knife where I just, right off the bat, when I'm holding it, do that. You know? Let's see. So, now, this whole video is supposed to be about tantos. So, you know, just to kind of go over some of that, then let's take a look at that, okay? So, start the SR11. The tanto shape is interesting on this, you know, because it is, the only thing is it's just tanto by looks. It's just tanto because there's 2 edges. I mean, the point is, you know, that swedge right there, you know, if the tip breaks and a thin, long kind of spine across the top, you can resharpen it easily, you know, and you know, you just have to sharpen this edge again, and you know, you have a point again. I mean, you don't have to ever really deal with reprofiling it, you know. So that's functional in terms of I guess that, but it's not really truly a tanto. A tanto blade like this Lum tanto, which I've been using now. In my video, you'll see a little, kind of like a mid to hard use test, mid use test. You know, this is a convex edge, so it's always rounded, and that's a pain but to sharpen. So I'm trying to flatten it. I haven't done it perfectly yet. It wasn't lined up either. You know, I always take the one that's kind of shitty. You know, better to sell the one that's nice and say, hey, you know, it's perfectly centered and all that stuff, and just I'll take the crappy one, because I don't mind. I'm gonna use it anyway. But you see, if you had to reprofile this, you know, again, you just sharpen that front edge, and you just have to then perhaps deal with that edge right here, right there, that one right there, and sharpen that to keep achieving that tip. And then the bottom, of course, is self-explanatory. You know, it's pretty good. It's a kind of a, you know, that might be a little challenging for people to do. You know, and then, you know, when you sharpen a tanto, the main thing is just you have to know to stop at that point and then continue there. So for example, like on a Strider, Mel is doing this, and you see it's hard to stop right there. We use the Lansky sharpening, you know, where you put the rod on it and you just, you know, scrape and round it off the edge. But you can see, you just, you know, it's just two like that, and then you do that. You know, so this one can be fixed if we just keep sharpening one with these, you know, this or this side. Eventually they'll go to a point right there. That second point is good if you watch on that can cutting test, because it really helps puncture another hole. It's like another tip that can cut things. Mr. Reeves, on my experience with it, it is also a convex edge at the tip. So come time to sharpen that tip, you know, it's a pain in the butt to get it good, because I mean you're trying to deal with a curve right there, a little rounded off section. So what I done is, let's see, on this side I'm just working on it. On this side I'm starting to have it have two bevels, and it's fine. It works the same way. And when the tip breaks, which throwing the M&Ms in, you know, the initial tip of course is very fine and pointy, it broke, and now we're up to this and stuff, and I had to get it, and you see it's kind of just a thing of sanding down this top part, then these two, I guess you would say, other secondary bevels or swedges, whatever, you know, to get that top part, you know. And that's a way, if you want to, you know, if you want to improve your tanto's penetration, you do that. You could do that to the Lum tanto if you wanted to, you know, do that to the top. And but so this one's a little bit more difficult to reprofile or to sharpen, but really good still, you know. And then McKinder's, you know, basically it's like that Strider, you know. If you just keep going around that curve and you lose that point, and when you go around that area, that point will be gone, you end up with a curve like this. But Mr. Hinder, you see, his tip is like that. So he has that swedge up here, you know, which isn't, you know, it's functional once you've gotten past that point. The rest kind of just slides in, but kind of pointless because that didn't help you, you know, really get it in there in the first place. So when you time to sharpen it, this thing is horrible to sharpen, people. This thing is not fun. This is the one knife I hate sharpening. Get it professionally done. I don't know. It's just not fun because you have to deal with this curve. But then the next part is, let's say you do lose the tip. What do? You know, okay, well, you could sand down that. Okay, and that might work. But then as it starts to push further in, as you start to wear out the front area, you're going to have to deal with these slopes, you know, because it's not going to, you know. Well, you know, which is fine, you know. You know, just stonewash it. Do Half Moon's idea of stonewashing, just re-stonewash it, and that's okay. If not, you're going to end up kind of like with a funky front area. But the Sponto's pretty, but not so functional for you know, breaking and using it. So that's a quick little thing over the tantos. I mean, all different methods here. 3.67 millimeters on the Zan, 3 millimeters on the Spyderco Lum tanto, but the tips, you know. Let's see, you know, Strider's 4 millimeter, ridiculous. You know, this is a flat ground. You know, this one, the Strider didn't pierce that well. Well, it had more resistance. It still went in, of course. And, you know, the Sponto, you know, not as much of a bulk right at the tip, but definitely, you know, a stronger front area. And then last but not least, the Salis. You know.